was funny because when you were talking on the one podcast about me and you meeting in person and you kind of being pissed at Clement, this motherfucker, he's putting me in a place where motherfuckers are looking up to me. Bitch, I looked up to you before TBM and Matt Clemmer, so fuck off. All right? Your greatness was felt for a long motherfucking time, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Hip here, coming to you with another edition of the Tattoo Guardians podcast. And this is a fucking special one, and it really played on my heartstrings. At the very beginning, you'll notice I don't really say much, and I don't know why. But as the show goes on, I'm just getting fucking pummeled by Matt, Joshua, and our special guest, Robbie Ripoll, from the Rad fucking movement. And they're just blessing me with like compliments and acknowledgments. And there's a little bit of unworthiness I'm feeling during it. But that's all right because I overcome it through Robbie's experience with him overcoming it. So keep listening to the Tattoo Guardians.
Hell yeah. Well, we are super fucking excited. We've been talking about it for a while. You've come up months ago even, right, Hip? We'd always kind of be like, you know who we should get. So once you and I started talking, Robbie just kind of re-triggered that. So yeah, today's a good day for sure.
Well, you ladies have always had me, so
nice.
Got me.
Man. Yeah, and I love that. You know, one of my old mentors, and still good brother and friend, Mr. Brian Brenner, I remember like over a decade ago, him and I were walking through an airport. I think we were on our way out to your convention, Josh, you and John Montgomery's convention out there somewhere in California. But anyways, he basically looked at me because I was noticing I love observing and watching people, especially in the airport, and tuning into folks. And he could see me doing that, and he could see. Anyways, he turned to me. He's like, "Matt, world-class people recognize other world-class people."
Nice.
You know, which is so fucking powerful, and I never forgot that. But we can insert our own certain type of people recognize other certain. We could say world-class people. We could say people that know love recognize other people in love. People that, you know, been through some shit but chose not to be victims, but rather creative overcomers can recognize other overcomers. Whatever the case, it's the old real recognize real. Therefore, Robbie, the first time I saw you, I felt like I saw you without knowing you.
Dude, same. Like, I seen you on a video you had made, and I was like, who's this other motherfucker with dreadlocks? looking a little more homeless than me. Maybe even speaking a little more positive than me. Holy shit. And then, awesome. So you had mutual friends of Josh and Sin Coburn. Who Josh is a dude that I've looked up to. He's a motivational speaker. He's always done really great things. And that was it. I was like, well, they know him. They vouch for him. Shit, dude must be real. Man. And but even before having that moment where I realized that somebody knew you, I was like, I need to be with this dude. Like we need to mix our energies. And Josh, I don't know if you know Mr. Carlton. You probably don't know because I probably never told you. I was on your dick so hard back in the day.
Welcome to the club.
Right? I bought 3 machines and a DVD collection. Like, I was like, I'm gonna buy everything this motherfucker got. Right. Then I bought your blood kit and I bought your other kits of inks and all these things, right? And it took a year for the fucking machines to get to me.
Oh, I remember those days, yes.
So and I understand that because, dude, there's been plenty of people that have had to wait for me and
right.
And so by the time the machines get to me and I'm building it up, I'm a tattoo just like Josh Carlton, man. It's gonna be sick.
Right.
Like, and so in the meantime, I found rotary machines. Well, now I'm like, fuck a coil, dude.
Right, exactly.
But at the same time, I still wanted your dick so bad that I was like, fuck. I can't wait for these machines. And dude, I don't know if you and your wife remember or talk about it ever, but I was I was fairly insistent at times, and I might have been a grouchy, crabby little bitch who needed my Josh Carlton machines because I wasn't in my hands yet. So like I would go through these on and offs, like I'm so mad at him, I don't have these machines yet, but like I really want them. And then they show up. And now I'm like, well, I got to adjust these things because they've been bounced around in the mail and shit. I don't really like tattooing with coils.
Right.
And so the lesson you taught me was be patient, and you're the fucking artist.
That's right.
Like, I wanted those machines and those inks and those DVDs because I believed it was going to turn me into a carbon copy of you.
Right. And I've been there myself. We've actually talked about that, like how careful you have to be with that. You know, it's so easy to find somebody you look up to. And if I make all these moves, I'm going to be just like that. And you might even get lucky and actually start to mimic this other artist, right? But you lose yourself in the mix of that. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I've definitely been there. Definitely understand that for sure.
Well, and we were talking about, you guys were talking about something with machines and stuff about how when you tattooed hip, and then how Matt tried your processes and so on and so forth, how it was difficult for him to get in. Yeah. And I feel like to add to that conversation, you actually have to stop sometimes and do what's working.
Absolutely. Especially you have to kind of, the whole diminishing return, you have to weigh that. Like at what point do I need to reel back and do what I know as a seasoned tattoo artist, right? There's always time for practice and time for growth, but to force yourself to paint your bathroom with a toothbrush when you don't have to, you know.
Hey, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like you're just wasting time that you could be doing better things with it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think that's been a struggle for myself, and I know we talk about it a lot. I think it's really universal for tattooers, you know. Through this podcast, I'm learning that more than probably anything is how similar we all really are, actually. It's kind of crazy, you know.
And one of the things that I think I've felt you notice through the podcast is how kind of taken back you are at how much reverence there is for you.
Yeah.
And how you didn't realize that reverence was there because you're just a bum sleeping on fucking floors when you ain't got money and you know what I'm saying? Like you're just a regular guy.
Right.
And these people are like, God, and you're like, no. And there's a weird line that you have to like learn how to balance on to feel the God inside of all of us, right? Because if you read the 4 Agreements, you know God is inside all of us.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, it's true, I am God, but so are you.
Yeah.
You know, so like to notice that you have God inside of you, and that's just you living to your highest abilities, and like allowing others to acknowledge it is the key.
Absolutely.
Without being cocky or, you know, or fucked up about it. Because I go through a lot of that shit with the internet. People are like, yo, you're doing so much for me. And I'm like, I am a loser and I hate my life.
You're like, where are you getting this information that I'm doing so much for you? Because I barely got out of bed today. So.
And I made a video about it. And now, and because it feels good to not be alone. And like he talks about in the podcast, he loves watching people he looks up to struggle. Not because he likes to watch you struggle, because it makes him know that we're all the same.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting how simple things can make major differences, even when we don't even notice.
Do you feel like your
that's good
TV experience has given you some new insight? Do you think if you didn't do Ink Master, it's changed you, right? It had to have. Yeah.
It's so I don't know if it put me further in the Matrix or took me further away from the Matrix.
A little bit of both, I'm sure. You know what I mean?
Because there was one point when we were filming, I got nervous because there was so much production around me. I got terrified about the group that was in front of me. I got stage fright.
Yeah.
And you guys don't see that because you watch TV.
Right.
You weren't there. You know what I'm saying? So like that fucked with me, but taught me a lot. But 2 huge things. I become a world famous tattooer, right? Which is
overnight.
Yeah. It's gross words to say. It's hard for us to step into being that well known that you are famous everywhere in the world. So that's one thing I've had to step into. But the biggest thing it gave me, I remember sitting there, all the other dudes that were more comfortable with the experience that made it further than me, they were saying, I have a formula. I know how I tattoo. I feel good about it. I'm just going to do my shit.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't have a formula. I just get stoned and draw on people.
Right. Yeah.
And then,
That's interesting.
and they took away the mellow down, get stoned before the process for me, right? So then I had to learn it wasn't the weed, man. It's just my process. I just talk to you, I dig into your brain, I draw some things on you or for you, and then we make a great tattoo. And so I had to really search for my formula. And then now, having taught apprentices in the past year and a half, opening my studio, holy fuck. All that stuff that I thought I didn't have on Ink Master, I'm now realizing that, holy shit, I have this for these guys.
Yeah.
And guys.
Yeah. Educating is so interesting because oftentimes I will literally be explaining something to somebody and I'm like, oh, that's why I do that. Like, I just totally, like, I knew I did it, but I didn't know why until I tried to have to explain it to you. And now I understand why I do it, which inevitably teaches me. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, dude. It's awesome. Matt, you've been trying to say something for like 5 minutes, but I keep running. So what's up, player?
No, that's okay. Who knows? If it's been the past 5 minutes, there's probably 50 different things that you said that I wanted to interject on and be like, preach it, brother. Like, yeah, okay. You know, so I'm just sitting here basking in this. I'm honored to have a seat at this table today in the presence of such greatness, you beautiful souls, you legends, and just sitting here listening to you and Josh rap back and forth is just filling up my soul. You know, I do like one of the last things you said was whether you know it or not, right? Well, do you remember what you just said? You said something, whether you know it or not, but I don't remember exactly your exact words. But man, that was a whole 3 minutes ago, boy. But you know, and that goes in line with, I did a little Instagram reel today, and I was talking about the ancient scripture and the story of Samson and Delilah. And people, you know, if anyone remembers that story, Samson's power was in his hair, and it was secret. No one knew. And you know, Delilah found out, he confided in her. They cut his hair, and he lost his power. And the scripture talks about how the power and the anointing lifted off of him, left him. But a part of the story that everyone glazes over is that the scripture says Samson did not feel the anointing lift off of him. Now, Brother Robbie, if I came and put my hand on your shoulder right now, would you think you'd feel it? And if I was holding your shoulder and if I lifted my hand off, do you think you'd feel it leave? Yes. But scripture says Samson didn't feel his power leave him, which tells us he didn't always feel it when it was upon him. Whether you know it or not, remember it or not, feel it or not, you are powerful, even when you don't feel it. Right.
That's true.
And when you said that, I'm like, yes, Mo, yes of that, you know? And that's a big part of our hearts. That's what us guardians and rad people do. Even though it's not official, I've like humbly included myself as part of the rad movement. Just 'cause I fucking love you. You know? You know, dude, but
look at the balls on Matt. You're like, what is it stand? I'm in.
That's right.
Well, I mean, let's be honest here. Josh's balls and dick aren't the only ones I've been after in this one. So when I texted you the other day, Matt, and you didn't respond, I didn't want to say it in class because I would have had to go through a whole lot of things. Okay. I was so butthurt and sad.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
Hey, if it makes you feel any better, he doesn't text me back.
Well, I mean, and to be honest, you're a hard person to get the text back, Josh. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
But but the thing is, you know, Matt's got like probably 400,000 things going on at once. I mean, dude, let's just call it one word that you've got going on, and then add life on top of that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So like,
some people will definitely be like, I emailed you 20 minutes ago, and I'm like, give me a second. I'm currently in the middle of taking an entire pound of THC right now. Can you just chill for a second?
Man, I have to remember that. You know, just as I cannot always be readily available to others cannot always be readily available to me. Yeah. And if you are spending time with the people that you look up to and want to spend time with, sometimes you have to accept the things that others have to accept about you.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that was weird. But and I don't want to cut hip out of this, because bro, I didn't even know. So me and you became personal before me and Josh or me and Matt years ago on the internet. We started, following each other and liking each other's stuff and this and that and here and there. And I really loved the way you put your stuff out, because I was like, man, I'm fucking around. Like, this guy, he's got his fucking videos and like his shit looks legit and his branding is on point. And holy shit, I don't even know who Hip is, but I want to be friends with Hip. Like, so. Yeah. And then to meet Matt and to go into the TBM thing, it was funny because when you were talking on the one podcast about me and you meeting in person and you kind of being pissed at Clemmer, this motherfucker, he's putting me in a place where motherfuckers are looking up to me. Bitch, I looked up to you before TBM and Matt Clemmer, so fuck off. All right? Your greatness was felt for a long motherfucking time, you son of a bitch. Hell yeah. So seriously, man, the fact that anybody at this table wants to be a part of the Rad movement, I am honored. And I don't even know what being a part of the Rad movement looks like. But I'm glad you guys want to be here.
Let's talk about that. So since I've known you, this is something I've seen, a flag that you fly,
Yes.
What is the Rad movement? What can you tell us a little bit about what your idea is? And Matt's the president of it, so we know.
Hey, I need a president, so that way I could just be a fucking owner, not an operator, right? But so it started with, you can't really see it. I think you can kind of see it. This tattoo on my thumb that says "I'm Rad." Me and one of my best friends in the whole world, Ozzy. I'm a well-accomplished tattooer. He's now a doctor. So it is like nuts to see like where we've come from drunken back porch talks.
Right.
Because, that was a point in my life where I was a single dad, and the party would happen at my house because I had the kid, so everybody would come over, we'd hang out, I'd barbecue, everybody would chill, I'd put my son to bed, and then we'd still chill. And so me and Ozzy many nights just sat on the back porch talking about being fat kids, because we had both been fat kids our whole life. And we, at some point in time, realized that being fat didn't define us. It was the rad inside of us that we needed to truly find and unleash.
Come on.
And, talking about finding your inner rad. And I'm talking about, this is over 10 years ago type shit. It's taken me so long to like step into that power. And I just realized today, again, I do not step in that power enough. I don't view myself as quality enough. So, we were just talking and it led to this "I'm Rad" tattoo. So I got this "I'm Rad" tattoo. And then I started giving out the "I'm Rad" tattoo to people that needed it or wanted it. Not even so much wanted it. More, I was kind of a judgy, tattooers, when we're so cool. I'm anointing you. I'm blessing you. I'm so cool. And I'm telling you, you're cool. So like, and then at some point in time, I was like, ew, I'm gross. I need to stop doing this. Expand it more. So somewhere through that, I decided I don't want to do things. If they felt gross, I didn't want to do them. So that was part of it. And that was one of the things that felt gross. So I then decided to start doing video and podcasts and stuff. Just, social media is really what started the Rad movement. And so I was at a dude's shop. His brother was like, dude, people love your videos, your engagement's nuts. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm a loser, right? So, he was like, nah, dude, your shit's crazy. So I had to step into my fucking power and I had to start doing video because I got called out for doing something good.
Nice.
So I was like, all right. Yeah. So I continued doing video and stuff, and I've probably been doing video about 6 or 7 years. And at some point in time, I was like, let me start up an Instagram and Facebook for, I'm Rad. I wanted to call it I'm Rad. Well, I'm pretty sure you guys and Hip, you've probably been through this because Hip was probably already taken, so you had to add something to it as your social media name. Mm-hmm. So I'm Rad was taken by somebody with 4 followers in a different country that never responded to me. So I was like, fuck, all right, what do? I'll go with I'm Rad Movement.
Yeah.
And that was like, you feel that pause? That was my fucking insecurity from back then.
Yeah.
Because I was audacious enough to say that I'm creating a movement. Who the fuck am I?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I'm just some fat kid that lost Ink Master. You know what I'm saying? Like, I lost my shop that I was in because of poor management on my side, because I didn't fucking step up and create solutions for problems. I kept running away from things and thinking that delegating was throwing the problems at other people. So how am I going to call this a fucking movement? So I did because Instagram made it so. And then, it went through a couple of different name changes. And now here we are at the evolution for the time being. I don't know if it's going to change again, but it's now the RAD movement. And that was more like the kind of the logistical side. But when I was on Ink Master, I came home and I was disappointed in myself because I went home sixth, like the sixth person to go home. I knew I had more in me than that. I knew I was a better artist than that. But the production side of it really threw me for a loop and I didn't know how to handle it.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I kind of gave up on myself. They noticed that. They just bought me like a whole trunk full of new clothes that day. They didn't want me going home. But I was ready to go home because I wasn't ready to believe in me. And I wasn't ready to go all in on myself. So I got home. I was living in a 6-bedroom fucking house with a theater room, and it was 2 stories and a fucking heated pool and jacuzzi. And like, dude, like my whole shit was fucking solid, right? Like I had all the things. I was rich and famous, and so it looked, right? And the money was being managed improperly. So while I was making the finances of somebody that would be considered rich, it wasn't being handled properly. So I was going poor fast.
Which is so common too.
Right, especially in a tat daddy's life. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So I remember sitting there in my giant kitchen in my fucking big mansion house, crying my face off, being like, I'm looking at the RAD tattoo and I'm like, I can't see it, I can't see it, I can't see it. And finally, I was alone one day in that big old house, and I decided to Google how to be happy. And I found Brendan Burchard.
Okay.
Brendan Burchard is the guy that, he's a huge motivator, but his main mentor was Tony Robbins. So now the beautiful correlation there was my dad, when he was alive, he used to listen to Tony Robbins and read Tony Robbins books.
Really?
Yeah. So now I'm learning from Tony Robbins' proverbial son. Right. Like my dad used to learn from Tony Robbins, right? So Brendan Burchard had this video on how to be happy. And I Googled it and I found it and I watched it. I listened to it. I let it be. I let it consume me. And then I was like, okay, now I need to do this. So I start listening and imbibing all this motivational content. And that turns into business content because, of course, I had business problems. So I needed to figure out how to solve that, and throughout all this, we're moving every fucking time a lease is up because the money's being managed poorly. So I'm thinking I'm a fucking loser, man. I'm making 20, 30, 40 grand a month in this studio and I don't see any of it. I can't even, dude, as soon as I got home from a trip where I had, 5, 10 grand in my wallet, that was fucking gone.
Yeah.
And not putting this on the spouse, right? Because I allowed this, so I was like, fuck, what am I doing? So I'm listening to all this stuff. And that's when I decided to stop. Like, if it felt gross, don't do it. And then I told myself, man, all these guys have such a rough story. My life has been too easy. So I don't deserve to teach.
Right.
I don't deserve to lead. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, man, the tattoo industry needs to hear this stuff, but I don't deserve to teach it. So like somewhere around there, after losing the mansion house and after losing the tattoo shop and fucking moving every fucking year and my car getting fucking repoed, like just feeling fucking like completely useless, but still fighting through all of it. Somewhere in there, the RAD movement was created. And
that's cool.
I realized I had to teach it to other tattooers because Brendan Burchard, as beautiful as he is as a human and his message, man, the dude wears all white. His backdrops are all white. He's got one beautifully placed fern. He's very fucking put together. He talks about giving to his church as a way to like serve. And I'm like, I get that and I love that. But if I come out swinging like this, number one, it's not authentic. Number two, tattooers ain't gonna listen to me.
Right, exactly.
Let me speak the way y'all motherfuckers do because I am you.
Yeah.
Right.
And let me speak authentically. So let me say fucking bitch and dumb and goddamn and all the things. But still, wrap it up with this, like, hey, there's so much more in this world out there that we can grasp.
Come on.
Yeah.
And so that is the long version of how the rad movement came.
I think that's beautiful, man. And I think you really hit the nail on the head with thinking what a movement can be, right? Because I'm the same way. I would have never thought of myself as anybody would have the power to start any kind of a movement. I just started talking. You know, Matt and Hip, we just started talking, and we just noticed every time we were like, this is something that I feel like, one, I really miss in my life and I want more of. But I bet you other people feel the same way. And so in the very beginning, when we were like, well, what's a podcast? Like, what do we do? Of course, you look at Joe Rogan, you look at the big names.
Right.
But I was pretty quick, right, guys, to kind of say, man, why don't we just talk? Like, fuck that plan. And that even frazzled some stuff because some of us are planners. And I was like, let's have just a loose talking point. And I feel like that's what's happened. So I guess at the end of the day, you'll hear me say, oh, shit, I learned something today on this podcast, my own podcast.
Yeah.
Right, I have.
And it's because of that. It's because we are just talking, right?
Yeah.
Like, you know, everybody might have an idea because you're on TV, because of who you are, but getting to really sit down and talk with you, like I work in a private studio and I miss this more than anything. That's tattooing to me. You know, when I say I grew up on this, like I've been doing this shit for fucking 30 years, you know? So everybody out there that's listening, you know, Robbie's really saying some great stuff here. Let Robbie give you the permission today that you need to do the things that you need to do. You know what I mean? This whole walk around with your fists clenched and you got to do this or you're not good enough. You know, today's Robbie's day to give you that permission. He is allowing you to hear this because he's done it. He's lived it. It's not some new chump tattooer, you know?
Right.
So I think you should take a moment to really listen to what Robbie has to say. And thank you so much, Robbie, for having honestly, the courage to get on there and say it. You've been through some rough shit, you know, and I don't want to just be like, it took so much strength to get up here and talk, but we know that it does. You know what I mean? And I don't care that I'm a male saying that and someone's going to think I'm a pussy.
Right.
Fuck you if you think I'm a pussy. Come tell me to my face. I'm going to tell you I love you back.
And tell me, Hip, and tell him why me, Hip, and Matt are there, because it's going to be a little bit more intimidating. A sea of giant men with a little beautiful Josh.
Right.
but no, you're right. Like, truth is, yeah, come say it to my face, because honestly, I'm living it and I'm embodying that shit.
Yeah.
You know? And
I think it's really, I apologize. I have a terrible problem with interrupting people. So I get these thoughts quickly. So I think it's really important. And we've said this so many times. For me personally, whatever your movement is, whatever you're trying to sell to me, if it's just real, I'm going to listen and I'm going to believe in you, right? I think we can all sense, like, I don't know about this fucking guy, whatever this guy's selling, right? I'm not selling shit. Well, I guess I'm making some clothes, you know what I mean? But I'm not selling some bullshit like thing, you know what I mean? I'm just somebody that was living a really positive life, and I found some brothers that are doing the same thing, and I found another brother today, and we've noticed that when we have, you know, guardians on the podcast, because that was always a question, what is a guardian?
That's one of my listen to today after the leadership one. Yeah.
You know, Carson Hill didn't know he's been a guardian for a long time.
Right.
And we just want to surround ourselves because we have this technology. I want to surround myself with like-minded people who are just all about forever forward.
That's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's as simple as that.
It's wild, dude, because like I have put myself in the not power position so many times.
Yeah.
Even just with you guys.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, full disclosure, I'm pretty sure y'all have done it. I've listening to things sometimes. I've listened to y'all's podcasts and been like, fuck these guys. You know? And then I'll be like, oh, I'm in the wrong mindset. That's why I'm talking like this to myself.
And it's so easy to do that, right? It's so easy because you've heard me talk, ad nauseum about everybody wants to be a part of a tribe, but when you work in a studio and everybody there's kicking rocks and taking, those deep breaths, it's so easy to be a part of that because you just want to be in that tribe, right? This is where they're at. So it's easy. People are out there listening. We know this. Matt, we know that people are out there that don't fucking like us because of whatever reason. We charge too much. We talk too soft.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Talk too much or whatever. Yeah.
yeah, talk too much. I mean, I think Matt said someone was like fast forwarding him. I'm I'm still laughing about it, but
Yeah, one of Hip's
But
fans. He loves what Hip and Josh says. He says whenever I start talking, he hits fast forward.
And you know what he's doing? He's robbing himself of the opportunity to learn.
and that's what I was going next. Exactly. Like, you cannot, Hip knows this more than anybody here. You can't force something on somebody if they're not ready to hear it.
Right.
You know, I've taught people certain techniques, like certain hand motions, right? I'm like, this hand motion will change everything. And like 2 years later, they'll be like, Josh, I got something for you to check out. And I'm like, I've been showing you that for years. They weren't ready. They just weren't ready, right? And multiple times, I've not been ready. Multiple times. And I'm kind of at a point. That's why I mentioned the permission thing. It's weird that my wife has told me for 10 years to do this with a financial decision. But it took Matt to kind of tell me this exact same thing. And I'm like, well, Matt said this. And she's like, I've been telling you for 10 years and I got nice tits.
Right. Yeah.
Can you listen to Matt?
I guarantee his dick is nowhere near as nice as my dick.
Right, exactly. Yeah, so I think we've all got that. We've all got that, like, for whatever reason, somebody gave us permission to do something. And I think it's just human nature. It's something I need. You know what I mean? You probably know. You know what I mean, right?
You guys give me permission all the time with the podcast. It's really, dude, it's church for me, man.
Nice.
You know, because I go through and I listen to these books. I listen to what feels right. And I haven't had, like, no books have felt right lately, but the podcast always does.
Good.
And it's because I need it, right? It's because you guys are talking about things that I fucking need.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and that's what it is. I mean, if it never blows up to anything huge, but we can just manage to just, like, help a few people through their day even, fuck it. I'm having fun with my friends.
It's huge to me. And also, I realize in my own shit, you guys are doing for me what I'm doing for others, and that gives me permission to believe in myself.
Come on.
That's awesome. I know Matt's talked a lot about, because I look at Matt as like kind of an ultimate coach, but he has coaches.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I like knowing that Matt has coaches. I like knowing that that's not the end. You know what I mean? It goes beyond.
That's what I always tell people. I'm like, look, I'm coaching you, but I also have coaches myself.
Yeah, I think that's really important.
We all know it. Sports, you know, I mean, we can fucking stop there.
Right.
And just say everybody in
yeah.
sports has a coach, and those guys make the money you've been dying to make. So shut the fuck up and get a coach.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, straighten shit out and be teachable.
The greatest in the world all have coaches. Yes, athletes, Olympian athletes, fighters, but same with writers, singers, actors and actresses. I mean, the best in any niche in the world, mastering their craft. Even this fucking Bruce Lee, like even the best fucking kung fu fighters all have a master, sensei, and their master came from a lineage and had a master, right? Like, my God, it's so weird. Go ahead, Josh.
Sometimes I think people are natural coaches and they might not be aware of it. Like, Matt, you know, you came to me as a coach, but Riley has been my friend for many years and has always been a coach to me. Just with, you know, he just is.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, surround yourself with those people, you know.
Yes.
Nip is also in that position where I don't know if it was nature or nurture, but that motherfucker has it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And
it's both. It's nature, and I've been nurturing him for 5 years, so it's both.
Right. And, you know, like, I listen to this dude, I watch this dude, you know, like I said about your branding and your materials and your content, man, you've coached me into realizing that I need to get my shit more tight in certain areas.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you didn't even know it. Yeah. Like, I feel really, and I'm sorry to cut you off, but I feel so inclined right now to just fucking tell you how much I love you, Hip. How much you fucking do for me as a person, just knowing, like, my first son, my son's mom was a junkie and she came clean. And I didn't believe junkies had come clean before she came clean. And you're one of the people that helped me see that. And I hope junkie isn't a rough term.
I love it.
I couldn't even hear you.
I love it.
Oh, okay. And like, I felt it's just I watch you be somebody that I respect and I look up to. And you used to fucking shoot heroin in your dick. You know, like that's huge to me.
Earlier today.
Yeah.
And for the
I'm doing
record,
it right now.
for the record, I think we're probably maybe 30 minutes into this episode, and we've talked about dick more this episode than all the shows combined.
Yeah, all right, so there's a reason for that.
Welcome to the Dickmore episode, guys.
Bro, I have been called the most gay straight tattooer in tattooing so many times with so many people.
Oh,
Dude, I'm with you. I'm fucking with you.
Bro, and forget about it. If I get 2 many drinks in me, now I'm gonna run around telling dudes how much I want to suck their dick just to see what they're gonna do.
I told you.
And before you know it, now everybody's uncomfortable except for me because I'm running around grabbing all the dudes' dicks and being like, you won't beat me up. You won't suck my dick. You're a pussy. I'm a bag of fucking morons when it comes to the word dick.
Dude, what powerful acknowledgement you're tapping into over here with our brother Hip, you know, and I didn't want to halter that by my dick jokes.
Oh man, no.
But dude, and because this is great, and he's had to learn, and he's still learning how to receive love, how to receive acknowledgement, how to receive a compliment. It's uncomfortable, but he's earned it. He's deserved it for whatever reason. Again, Hip, your numbers come up. Today's your day. The great Robbie Ripoll is sharing his heart with the whole world, but also sharing the impact. He's acknowledging you for the impact you're making across the globe right now, but even specifically in his life.
In my life.
Dude.
I know you remember the time that you just messaged me out of nowhere on Facebook, I love you.
Yeah.
And I'm getting emotional thinking about it. I needed that so fucking bad that day, dude. One of my hardest things is mornings. Mornings fucking suck for me, dude. I go through wanting to kill people, wanting to beat people up, wanting to fucking tell people off, wanting to cry, and you fucking tapped into me that day, bro.
Man.
And just that moment was huge. That was fucking huge. And I don't know if you know that, because the words that I responded to you there's no way to put those words in text form. But thank you so much for loving and sharing that love with me when I needed it the most.
Of course, man.
That's beautiful.
That was
You guys making me fucking cry over here.
Jeez. And that's Hip's MO. Not only does Hip do that shit every day, but he doesn't tell anyone about it. Robbie, do you know that Hip has been texting not only Joshua every single morning, but also my wife, because she's been battling her own health deal. He's been texting my wife that you are happy, healthy, and whole and thriving every single morning for God knows how long, and I didn't know it. She finally just told me, did you know that Hip texts me this every morning? I'm like, no, because he does this stuff and then doesn't tell people. Talk about giving, like anonymously. This is the dude which you've heard before will just go and randomly pay off other people's like fucking layaways and shit. The only reason why I know it is because it somehow comes up, but he never does what he does for the attention.
I think I talk about what Hip does way more than he does. I always feel like I'm like saying something I shouldn't say. Maybe he wants it to be secretive, you know, but I want people to just realize how amazing he is, though, you know.
That's it. Speaking of permission, it gives others inspiration to do the same.
Yeah, let's normalize telling our friends that they fucking are the best for giving that way, dude.
Come on.
Like, it's not a fucking gross thing to say, bruh, I can't believe you dropped a G on some fucking layaways, even though in the process of it, you got scared, but you still kept paying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how many fucking Christmases you made because of that so many times? You know, like, we did our Christmas thing recently, and I was like, yeah, cool, we raised some toys, but I want to raise more. You know, like, so I think there's nothing wrong with vibrantly wanting to give more.
Come on. And to tell the story and it be a testimony. You know, Scripture says we overcame not only by the blood of the Lamb, but by the word of our testimony. Folks, sometimes just a good story will help set you free. Sometimes a good story will remind you of who the fuck you really are, right?
Well, and adding on to that, you speak from Scripture a lot. Bruh, you don't have to be religious to enjoy the stories or to learn from the stories of Scripture.
Come on.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because every single Scripture story you bring up are the most important ones that hit hard and impactful. And you take away Jesus and God and religion and Christ. Who cares about that stuff? Right now, we're talking about how to learn and grow from this story that may or may not have happened, right? Because we don't know the past.
That's right.
But hey, that book tells us some things.
Yep.
So, you know, having the knowledge and the discernment to be able to find the juice in every story, that's powerful.
Yeah. What you're doing right now, Robbie, authentically sharing your heart. You know, one of the many things that why the world loves Hip is because of how authentic he is. Like, out of the three of us on this show, I think I'm the only one that people are on the fence about. Is that dude fucking real or fake, right? But I don't think anyone's ever been on the fence that way with Hip. People don't wonder, is this dude real or fake?
That's very true. That's very true.
They know he's real. Same with you, Robbie. You have that gift. The gift of authenticity is so rich within you that not only does it make the world feel comfortable in their own skin, but we're drawn to want to be around and break bread and dine with you, whether I'm sitting at the table with you or if it's a day where I get to sit at your feet because I trust you, I believe you. Out your pores is no bullshit. You owning your imperfections, your flaws, your past, taking responsibility. I'm not putting that on her. I allowed it to happen, whatever. Who am I to be serving others, right? But it's your authenticity, owning your pain is what leads us into the power, right? And by you being it right before our very own eyes, being it right now on this podcast, in this conversation, it sets the captives free. For you listeners, this is something we cover in TBM. What you going to do when you get the revelation that there's absolutely nothing wrong with you, that you are actually perfect in every way that you are and every way that you're not, right?
Dude,
this is the rad movement, Robbie. This is the rad movement. You are the rad movement. And this is all our listeners today. I guarantee you're like, well, fuck, I want to be in the rad movement too. You know?
Dude, I really appreciate that. And honestly, like, that is one thing that I've had people say, like, how do I be a part of the rad movement? And now I have an answer. Well, because you asked, that means you care, so you are.
Man.
You know, like, it's just about acknowledging the greatness inside yourself.
Man.
You know, another podcast I listen to a lot, and a person that I really put a lot of value in is Lewis Howes. And he does the School of Greatness podcast.
Yep.
And I listened to that religiously for a while. Bro, I got to go to New York and be at his book signing. You want to talk about fucking doing something that you ain't comfortable doing. Bro, I had a fucking big old traveling suitcase with me walking through New York City, looking for a building. I don't know where it is.
Yeah.
And, you know, not going to alcohol to make me comfortable in a group of people. So here I am. I got this fucking suitcase. I'm probably the only dude in the room that looks like me.
Yeah.
You know, I'm surrounded by greatness that's bigger than me, and I don't know how to handle it. So I just dove right the fuck in.
Yeah.
He started Q&A time. I was the first bitch to stand up, and I says, how the fuck do you make friends in a room like this?
Yeah, come on.
And everybody was like, ooh.
And they were like, I don't know, but I know I want to be that dude's friend. You know?
Right. And I had a couple people say that, but well, now you're my friend. And it was wild, man. And like having that permission, giving yourself that permission, going to a book signing of somebody that I look up to, putting myself in the personal proximity of that person, and like trying not to collapse because I felt tiny was such a big, brave move that I didn't even realize at the time. You know, it was just a $35 ticket and bought me 2 of his books, and I got to meet him and take pictures with him. You know, but like the reality of it was I got to see him in the flesh as a human.
Right.
I got to see that he's just a dude. He told some stories about how he got mad in the airport and had to control himself. Just a dude. And it's like, wow, we're all just dudes out there. We're all just people. And like, even as you guys talk to me right now, like honoring me for who I am and what I do.
Come on.
Bro, old Robbie would have been like, who the fuck you talking to? You know what I'm saying? Like, I would have had said, nah, dude, you got the wrong one. I ain't doing nothing good. But now, like, I feel you hit me with that shit that I don't believe. And then I push past it.
Come on.
And I'm like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah,
thanks a lot. Because I fucking cried myself to sleep or awake a number of times because I'm not good enough and I'm not enough. And dudes that like love me and that I love and I respect and I look up to are looking back to me with love and reverence.
Yeah.
And like, I feel y'all being into my words and I feel this fellowship that we're all sharing. And it's like, it's making my heart so full.
Yes.
And like, I don't even know if y'all realize how much I needed this in my life.
Man.
This specific.
That's fantastic.
Robbie, do you know how many fucking badasses throughout the world that Joshua Carlton has a personal relationship in the tattoo industry? Have you noticed since you've listened to all the Guardians episodes that 9 out of 10 we don't even have a guest? That it's usually just us three? That if and when we have a guest, it is peppered in more randomly. And we'll see what the future holds. And so I know behind the scenes, the three of us talking, planning, preparing. What do the people need? What's coming next? Who are the guests we should have on our show, right? And for the tattoo industry, do you know how many fucking badasses Carlton knows alone, let alone the ones I know or Hip knows, that are in the upper echelon of the best in the fucking industry? But do you know how many times their names have come up when we talk about who we should have on this show? Compared to how many times your name has come up when we're talking about who we want on this show. Robbie, your name has come up more than anyone's, pretty much.
Easily.
And you're fucking here versus whoever the rest of the world or the industry says is the fucking best. Now, because of who you are.
Man.
You know. Yep.
Man, that's huge.
Yes, it is. And we're honored to have you.
Even if you do know, I don't think you knew the power that your words have on somebody, possibly for the rest of their life.
Yep.
Unbelievable. You know, Hip did not know that as we sat there and listened to you say that. We didn't know how that affected you. And I've been told, and we've all been told, hey, one time you called me when, you know, it's unbelievable when sometimes you don't think it's worth it. You've heard us talk in the past about giving and not getting back what we thought we would get. Somebody just being kind of shitty about it or just let it roll off of them. You affect people so much more than you realize. And like, I guess I'm just saying, like, what a great example to not stop.
Come on.
Do not stop.
Yes, especially because, and it's easy to get tempted to stop when we can't see or know our impact.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
But this is why we must learn you have an impact. But that doesn't mean you need to be attached to the outcome. Take responsibility. Know you have an impact despite the outcome, right?
Because really, if you're looking at it just for that, you know, how did it affect? It's kind of selfish. It's a little bit on. I'm just giving to wait for that feedback, that glorious feedback. Let the like buttons fall down on me. You know.
Thank you, and that's why some of our listeners didn't fully get our episode. Are you a giver? You know, because.
That one.
Because some of them, you know, like we got, you know, some of them got messages like, you know, they love that episode. They wrote a message to me, right? But I haven't gotten back to them, you know, and you know, it's bumming them out or whatever. So on one hand, we can all understand that. But their message to me was somewhere along the lines where they're thinking they're trying to give something to me. But really, they're more hurt because they haven't gotten back from me what they were hoping to get.
And I've been guilty of that myself. I'm sure we all have.
So in that moment, were they really given to me or not? You know?
Well, and it's like I said, when I messaged you that day, I felt guilty about that because I started off with, hey, I'm thinking of you. You're on my heart. You're on my mind. And then I was like, oh, but hey, I want to come and do a guest spot. And I would love to have you come to my studio and teach all my guys this stuff. Oh, and let's do podcast stuff together. Cause I was in the moment, but at the same time I got butthurt and I pushed through it because I know your heart.
Yes.
I'm not really sitting there being like, fuck Robbie's old bitch ass.
Right.
You know?
That's right, dude. But again, this is stuff we cover in Tattoo Business Mastery. One, you've been fucking operating in it powerfully today, the power of acknowledgement, and this thing called communication. Unfortunately, even with our clients, our friends, whatever, without this thing called communication, most people will tend to think the worst. That's why it's so important to acknowledge and communicate to one another. But that's why when Robbie sent me a video message, it fucking blessed my whole day. But guess what? Robbie didn't know that because I didn't communicate back or acknowledge him. That's why it's so important. That's why I'm glad he did show up Monday night to class as alumni to bless everybody and to get fed some more himself and to say what up. I was able to acknowledge that and him in front of everyone. Like, dude, I love you. I see you. Thank you so much. That message the other day. And I'm sorry I couldn't. You wouldn't know because I didn't even respond, right? I got to address it and acknowledge it. But I still, if I would have taken fucking 30 seconds to acknowledge it on that day. It could have prevented and saved your monkey mind from thinking all kinds of bullshit, right?
Yeah, but you know, if somebody could fucking give me big pecs, strong arms, and a fucking flat belly without going to the gym, it would rob me of everything I'd learned from going to the gym.
Come on.
So, you know, like, I had to push through that. Like I said about, you know, the shit that hit me, whatever the fuck we were talking about earlier, and I said I had to push through that moment of, you know, feeling broken, feeling less than, feeling disappointed. I had to push through that disappointment. I had to know your heart because I have damage. I have trauma, right? A lot of my trauma is involving people changing their mind on how they feel about me or leaving me, right? Yeah. So I had to realize just because you don't hear from a brother doesn't mean he's not your brother anymore.
That's it.
It means he got busy. And if I had bitched down and not come to your fucking meeting, if I had not come to TBM that night, because dude, you saw it, I was in my hot tub. Yeah. I could have very well just said, fuck this. I don't want to look like the pretentious cunt in my hot tub. I definitely wasn't going to not go in my hot tub. Right. So I was like, you know what? If anybody thinks I'm pretentious, fuck them. Because I'm here to give love. I'm here to get love. Yes. And honestly, every time I'm in TBM, that shit always changes my brain. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, brother.
Dude, and I don't know if you remember, but when we had a class in the past, when I was enrolled and going through classes every week, I told you gave me the confidence to start my own coaching programs.
Yes, brother. Yes.
So since then, I have purchased a business coach. And this dude lives in New Zealand, so it's a pain in the dick for us to get together. Yeah. It cost me a buttload of money, and I love it because you know what? Now I got somebody, and at the beginning he was like, "I'm here to support you. I'm here to support you." So I'm like, in my brain, I'm like, "I'm paying for support." Yeah. Fuck you, dog. Yeah. You know, like I ain't paying for you to fucking pat me on the butt, you know, and tell me I did a good job. Like I'm paying you to fucking help me make this, which at the end, that's what's important, right? Yeah, yeah. So now I am actively fucking creating my own coaching programs.
I love it.
Money is a part of it. Business is a part of it, but it's all about the transformation for my program.
Come on.
And I realized facing all the shit that I go through, facing all the shit that I'm going through, facing all the shit that I've gone through, bruh, if I could fucking quantify my juice and put it in a program, it's worth something to somebody. Yeah. And you know what? I've been doing the rad movement for almost 10 years. It's not terrible. I'm not a bad fucking person for asking you for money to buy my program because now I know how much effort goes into creating a program and that shit will crush you. Yeah. Creating a curriculum will crush this. But going back to pushing through when it's hard, I have to push through when it's hard. And I got a meeting with my business coach right after this.
Awesome. You know?
Yeah. What were you saying, John?
I was just saying it's amazing how nobody ever knows what goes into anything. When I put on Evergreen, we put on Evergreen, take a few days off, and I'm not shitting you when I say we're back on the grind like a full year in advance. Like this podcast, it seems pretty straightforward. It's a lot of fucking work. Hip and Matt have done a monumental amount of work on their end because they're over there. But just the logistics of getting everything set up, and Mike's been amazing, But
Right.
people don't know what goes on.
And
Yeah.
having a mic is brilliant.
Yeah,
And
people
nobody-
don't realize. I think sometimes we all want to fight it. It's like I'm the master of my domain. I'm going to do everything, and it's like being able to say, "Oh, producer Mike," and it's like, yeah, fuck. Not only does he know what he's doing, he's going to do it better than me, faster than me, and we thank him every day. So let everybody should have a mic in their life. Good luck finding someone as good as Mike really is, but
Bro.
you should try.
I have a studio manager. Her name is Brittany. Donna got over 300 fucking messages about our management position. Brittany was the only person that showed up. Funny thing is, in 5 minutes of talking to Brittany, because I was in a tattoo at the time Donna brought me out, I was like, yeah, so she's hired. I'm going to go back to work. And she's like, but we have all these people coming in. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Brittany's got the job. So if you want to go through formalities of getting, giving the other people a chance, that's fine. But I love her. She's going to be the one. And she was the one. She is the one. And she's our mic for the front of the shop. Because dude, and it's part of building a team, right? As a tattooer, you don't realize you can build a team to make your business grow because you're focused on these hands and what comes out of them.
It's like spending money to make money. You have to hire the right team of people. You just, if you're really serious about doing a real anything, you have to have a team.
Yes.
That's been tough for me to actually own. I have these visions, but I cannot do them by myself. I really need help, and I reach out now. Go ahead.
Do you find that it's a little bit of ego that stands in the way? Like
100%.
I want to do this all myself.
Yeah,
big strong man.
I didn't even used to let my wife handles my schedule. Part of you waiting so long to get something was part of that shit back in the day where I'm like, everything's fine. Everything was on fire. You know what I mean? But I was just not willing to budge. I learned a valuable lesson from that. And now, coaches have coaches. I often reach out to Hip and Matt in the middle of the night and just it's usually basic shit. But it's like, hey, one of these days I want to do this. You've done it monumentally successfully. I'm going to listen to every word you say. Would you be willing to help me? And, I'm in a fortunate position where they're friends and they say, fuck yeah, brother, let's do this, and I would do it for them.
Right.
Ip, what do you always say? What's the magic word?
Help.
Help.
I'm sorry, I'm just fucking enjoying this shit. And I got some things that I gotta touch base on too with you, Robbie, that are fucking dope. Because you're obviously challenging me to a love war, and motherfucker, I got you about to catch these hearts.
Do it, dog. Do it, dog. Let's go.
Yeah, dude. Like the more I think about it, like nobody does anything by themselves. Like I didn't make this Apple phone that I fucking talk to people on. I don't keep social media running. I didn't make the machines I use. I didn't make the batteries I use. I didn't fucking make my pigment. Like everyone has to have help one form or another. And like how you were talking and asked Josh, like, is it ego? Like, yeah, it usually always is ego. And when I first, so Mike was my personal assistant right before we started the podcast and everything. And really it was ego that drove me to get him for two reasons. One, because some coworkers they had their assistant and he was a homie and he was working like a dead-end job that he didn't like, and someone put a bug in my ear that he would be interested in doing it. Just luckily I asked him and he did it and did fucking great and has been phenomenal since then. Now he's becoming a tattoo apprentice and he runs our show for the Guardians podcast. But like I learned a lot of things in that experience. One, I got to help a homie and put money in his pocket and help him like get out of an area that he didn't find very much freedom in or joy in. And now it's almost spiraled into this whole career. So it's like you never know what kind of impact you're going to have hiring someone, I'm a small business. So when a small business hires a smaller business or it's just everyone win. It's a win-win.
Yeah.
So on to this fucking love battle, right? You're talking about like hearing this stuff and you're getting teary-eyed, and I think we've all fucking been on the verge of tears pretty much this whole time. I have. And it's funny because like we're parallel in this whole podcast. I'm noticing like it's hard for me to receive it. I receive it and I take it. And as I'm taking it, I'm thinking like, man, I remember being dope sick and watching fucking Ink Master and seeing you on there and not even fucking having a clue. Whoop, fast forward to today, and I'm going to be getting blessed and so much fucking love from this dude that I didn't even give a fuck what you were doing then. It was just some shit on in the background while I was trying to figure out who I was going to rob and steal from to fucking get another one so I could fucking maintain my day-to-day life, which is like get high, steal again, get high, steal again, chase a bag. And now like hearing all this shit with fucking Matt co-signing that fucking, yeah, this dude's really this way, and then Josh co-signing that, it's overwhelming, but I have to learn to like receive it, because if I was never stepping into all the things that I thought were weaknesses, right? My authenticity, being a scared little fucking boy, not being fucking fat or ugly or having pimples on my face, all these things that I perceive to be weaknesses, like owning them and accepting them and moving into them have actually been, from all the fucking feedback, monumental. Like, I'm not aware of lives that I'm changing. I had a dude last night during TBM message me, and I liked one of his photos, and he fucking screenshotted it and shared it and fucking said it just made his week. I used to fucking do that. I still fucking do that. And Josh, you told me fucking so many episodes ago, like, there's some dude out there right now that's fucking fangirling over you, and I listened to you, but I didn't fucking believe it. And then like to see that, and then to have you come on, Robbie, and fucking for our viewers, right? I've only met Robbie and actually touched his skin one time. Now I've been in proximity of him, but I've always been too scared. That little boy that's just too scared or not good enough or not fucking cool enough. Big personality. He's an intimidating person. I'm just not going to waste his time. But because in Chicago last year, I was mustering up the courage and just fucking didn't want to do it, and I'm in an uncomfortable position, and I did. And right when I did it, almost after that first initial conversation of getting out all the small talk and we slapping hands, I felt comfortable. And the only kind of the comfort I'm talking about, right, is like, so in these 12-step programs I go to, I get a sense of comfort, like relatability, the me too's, like, you know me because you are me. And the only way I can explain it is like, it happened today at this podcast. I thought I was going to be talky and jokey and fucking like it was going to go totally different than the way that it's going now. But there's that sense of comfort, like me and Robbie have known each other for fucking lifetimes, to sit here and just bask in it. And then on top of it, he's going to start dropping these fucking compliments and tell me how I impacted his fucking life. And it's very overwhelming. Oh, sorry, Siri interrupted.
Get up, robot lady.
It's so awesome, like being caught in the present moment and seeing that, like, as we're dumping compliments on you, it's hard for you to fucking receive, and you just dumped them on me and it's hard for me to receive. And it's like we are literally in parallel with each other. Like, there's fucking one universe right now as far as I'm concerned, and it's the one we're creating, and the fucking heartbeat we're causing to fucking pump, and we're all blood and vessels moving into it. And it's just, I don't even know if I can express it into words, like what it's doing for me. It's almost like a revelation I'm having. And I just really fucking appreciate it, dude. And I love you. And I fucking was just obeying that day that I reached out and told you I love you. That's all I was doing, was fucking obeying. And it fucking makes me so happy to know that, like, it hit when it needed to fucking hit. Because it was simply just message this fucking dude. Fuck yeah, he's dope. I'm going to message that dude. And it really fucking feeds my soul knowing that, like, it hit at a good time. Because I fucking meant it, dude. And now I mean it even more because it fucking hit at the right time. We need you to be you. And this part's hard for me to say, but y'all need me to be me and live into my full self. Yep. And it's like, the more I keep speaking on this, I'm giving power to where it needs to be, which is in the rad side of me, you know, the authentic side of me, the loving, the compassionate side of me.
Yes.
Dude, it's wild because, like, I feel like I'm sitting here on TV with dudes that I have watched on TV, and it feels surreal to be sitting here with all three of y'all. Like,
see, that's fucking the shit I'm talking about, dude. You're the fucking rock star.
and you know what's funny, dude? Every time I've heard that in the past, I'm like, I ain't no rock star. Dude, that's a gross word. I ain't no rock star. And you know, now I'm finally like, yeah, I'll put my dick on the table. It might be small, but it's definitely mighty.
It's got leather chaps on, damn it.
Right? You don't know how happy and strong my penis can be. That's why I have so much confidence around it. But anyways, you guys, I came here with a very empty cup. Like, very empty cup. Hoping that it could be filled, hoping that I would allow it to be filled. And dude, you guys have filled my cup so fucking much today. And I'm pretty sure the viewers and the listeners get the empty cup thing, because that's something I took from Matt. But like, it was weird. I didn't come into this with anxiety. I came into this with excitement. Like, fuck yeah, I get to kick it with the homies. You know, like, yeah, this is a podcast and it's going to be broadcast, but like, honestly, I'm just super excited to have you three men in talking distance. And that way we can do this. Yeah. Because this ain't a podcast for me. This is real motherfucking life. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It just happens to be in podcast form.
Yeah.
Well put.
You made me feel like I don't have to try to be anybody, you know? Like, does anybody else feel that? Yes,
that's the gift you both have that I was trying to say earlier. You know, my brother Todd says your two favorite people you'll meet throughout your whole life is the person that's most comfortable in their skin, and the other favorite person in your life is the one that makes you feel the most comfortable in your own skin. And that's what you do, Robbie and Hip. Both of you have the gift. That's why you said, man, I just feel fucking comfortable now. That's the part of Robbie's anointing. You are allowed to be comfortable in your own skin, and that happens when this man's present. But that happens when you're present too. I would extend the same with Josh. You know, all three of you make others feel comfortable in their own skin. So now we can get on with real life again.
Well, the cool thing is like, I've never been able to like feel or experience what you're telling me about myself, but I'm really feeling it now. And if that's really what I make fucking people feel like, that's pretty fucking dope.
Yeah. And you do, Hip. You for years you've given me that gift for years, Hip.
Dude, Samson with the hair being cut off and the gift being removed, and he never felt that he had the gift or he lost the gift.
Yes.
Samson, sucker. You know what I'm saying?
That's it.
You've been had the gift, and the beauty is can't nobody take it from us.
Come on.
Like, and that's the thing, dude. Like, man, the brotherhood I feel with you guys is like so strong. I love it so much. I've been manifesting these type of people in my life, and it just so happens that a lot of the time the new ones that show up are distant. So now I have to put more energy into these relationships to be a part of them. You know, like, all I want is a Matt Clemmer to fucking work at my studio so he could fucking drop knowledge bombs on me all day. I want a giant like fucking Hip to make me feel like I'm not the only big, lovable, scary teddy bear in the fucking room. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a fucking huge motherfucker, dude. I didn't realize that until Chicago. Like, you're like 6'4" or some shit, homie. Like, we hug and I'm like a little smaller, you know? And it's so cool, man. It's so cool that tattooing has this, and it's not about tattooing.
Man.
You know, because Josh, we've been living this for our whole lives at the shop, like you said, but like, we don't even realize that that's us being authentically us. We just think it's the tattoo shop that does it.
Yeah. Brian Brenner was on, and he's like, why do you still care so much? Why do you give a fuck? And it's just like, this is just me. it's just me. It's tattooing is me. We're all, it's all of us.
Yeah.
I always say tattooing chose us. You know, you didn't choose tattooing, Robbie. That bitch came into you.
My dad was a tatter when I was a kid.
Yeah, you didn't have a choice. There's no choice.
Dude, he was a phenomenal artist, and he always found ways to make money doing art because he was always that type of like weird hustler type, you know. Back in the day, he probably sold things that aren't legal to sell.
Right.
Probably, I mean, he told me some really cool, wacky stories. And like, he decided to turn, you know, his hustle into tattooing. And I never had to see his hustle. Like, that was way before I was even born. Way before me and the middle brother were even born. My oldest brother is the only one that ever had to be around that at all. And he really wasn't even around it. But like, my dad always hustled. And then he went from selling drugs to arting. And from, you know, now he's the fucking sandblasting glass doors and shit for rich white people. And then all of a sudden he gets tattooed by this dude and he's like, I can do this. And I was in fucking 5th grade getting dropped off by the bus at my parents' nail and hair salon that my dad built a tattoo room in. And that's what got me into tattooing. I was like, I love this. Give me all the tattoos. So like,
a different life, you know?
Yeah, dude. And like, I loved tattooing so much. Dude, there's a few things in my life I'm extraordinarily passionate about. Spelling was probably the first one. I have this weird passion for spelling. I can spell really good. I usually don't even need to read the word to be able to spell it. I don't know why. I love spelling. It's huge.
That's awesome.
Giant boobs. I love giant boobs. They make me very happy. So if I'm in a relationship with you, you're going to have giant boobs. My partner, my wife type has giant boobs and she's phenomenal and she's amazing and she has all the other things and giant boobs.
I think you should get that. I think you should get like a notepad tattooed on you, like check off things that are cool. Like spelling, check, giant boobs.
Yeah. And then tattooing. Like tattooing and wakeboarding, like these are things like, you know, the wakeboarding is great. It's a hobby. I love it. It takes away my brain and puts me. It's like
we
drugs.
Need that.
You know, it's really like drugs. It's one of the few things that can. Dude, I was wakeboarding the other day. It was 75 degrees and the sun was shining on me, and I was just like, I don't even need to do a trick. I'm just having fun. But like, tattooing is the thing I didn't choose at all, like those other things. But like, it's been an abusive partner. It's been a loving partner. It's been an evasive partner. It's avoided me. It's given me everything. It's taken everything away. Like, dude, if it weren't for tattooing, I wouldn't have that title of world famous TV tattoo personality, Robbie Ripoll.
Right.
Like, what the fuck? Like, tattooing brought me to that. And you're right, I didn't choose it. It was just something that my dad did it, and he brought it in front of me, and I fought him. Bro, by the time I was 12, he finally gave in and decided to give me an apprenticeship because I was annoying him so much. So like, I couldn't stop it. It's really like loving boobs, because you like a body part, you have a sexual orientation, you have a this or a that you're attracted to, that's part of your type. Dude, ain't nothing been more my type than tattooing.
Yeah.
And it's weird. And then, you know, the motivation stuff comes from tattooing, because it's like, well, I have this voice. I know how to make people feel comfortable. I know how to explain things. I'm a good, proper communicator. So let me teach tattoo people the things that I've learned along the way by fucking up a whole bunch.
Yeah,
come on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And do I self-deprecate it at the end because I'm afraid to say the word teach, or just because it's part of it? I don't know. I'm looking at Matt as I ask this, but.
And what did you say? I didn't hear. You cut out right there.
So I said, fuck, every time you ask me to repeat something, I forget it.
You said something about asking at the end,
He was
self-deprecating.
self-deprecating, wanted to know.
Yeah. So was I self-deprecating at the end of my statement about teaching because I don't like saying that I'm a teacher?
Right.
Even though I run around teaching motherfuckers and mentoring motherfuckers and giving every bit of my 41 years of, you know, experience of, you know, losing businesses, losing love, losing my fucking leg, fucking having great successes like Ink Master, and Ink Mag asked me to be on their YouTube videos, and like, dude, fucking Ink Mag reached out to me, and like, tell me the universe isn't on your side.
Come on.
Ink Mag reached out to me. I went to fucking Hell City. I got a box of my Rad Movement t-shirts delivered to me as I was on the way to the Ink Mag fucking video. I fucking throw on a Rad Movement shirt, and I get to fucking broadcast the Rad Movement on Ink Mag, the first time I was ever on it. Tell me that isn't the universe being there for you, and I'm afraid to do it all.
Come on. Yes.
Alchemist,
So
man.
are we. So are we, Robbie. We just apply that thing called courage and do it anyways. And as you know, clarity comes in the doing, right? And, you know, since I always bring up scripture, one of my favorites is, he is a lamp unto our feet, a light unto our path. Now, he can be source, universe, the divine, a lamp unto your feet, a light unto your path. And we all wished we had that crystal ball. I was standing out in my backyard. It was pitch dark, cloud coverage, no moon, nothing. And I couldn't see what's in the back of my yard. Now, I know what's there, but this particular night, I pretended to have a lamp at my feet, and I turned it on. Now, can I see way out there? Fuck no. I want to, but I can't. But the lamp's at my feet, but I look down, and you know what's illuminated? The next 3 steps that I can take. And I take those. The lamp comes with me. Now can I see out there? Nope, but what can I see? The next 3 steps. Clarity is coming in the doing, and I just figured out how to take these 3 steps. I believe the divine is out in front of you, out in front of us, orchestrating, preparing the way so that when we arrive, our inheritance, everything is already there for us. And once we get there, everything will be on time, right on time. Well, you may question, we're feared of the unknown. When I get there, will I know how to take those steps? You just figured out how to take these 3. The lamp came with you. The next 3 is illuminated, and we'll figure it out, and we'll get clear in the doing of the thing. But so many of us are stuck on the starting line, and we don't even step out of our comfort zone, step into faith. We don't take any steps. We don't even take the 3 because we can't figure it out down there. And unfortunately, that's not the way it is. The journey is, the destination's in the journey. The beauty of this vulnerable, scary process. You know, you brought up fear earlier. A great revelation that has served me well. This is probably going to get too woo, but fuck it. It's Matt Clemmer, right?
I'm with woo too. Let's do it.
Hey.
Woo, woo.
So years ago, I was, at a seminar, an event, and they were about to take us through an exercise. Now, they were quick to say, this is not a guided meditation, blah, blah, even though it kind of seemed like one, right? Now, you know me, brother. I am open to any and all possibility. But I also sitting there was thinking, cool, I'll play, even though I don't anything's really going to happen. But that's okay. I am open. Let me empty my cup and see, right? Close my eyes with a room full of probably 200 other people. And my God, all of a sudden I had an out-of-body experience, and I was warped back, and I was standing in my own dining room face to face with my 4-year-old self. Now, my parents got divorced when I was 3. My dad left when I was 4. And for whatever reason, from age 4 is the day I decided to become a man. That's the day I decided to become an adult. That's the day I decided I need to take care of my brothers and my mom. Now, no one put that on me. I put that on myself. And from age 4 till now, that's never changed. But along the way, I robbed myself of a childhood, right? But needless to say, to be able to work back and be face to face with my 4-year-old self, and that little dude was so strong and so powerful. I could get choked up thinking of him. And even in that moment, my 4-year-old self reached out to comfort me, the adult version of me. And even my 4-year-old self was letting me know that everything's okay. And we had a beautiful encounter, and it was real healing for me. And if you think like that would have been enough, but after that, my 4-year-old self grabbed my hand and walked me through the wall of my own dining room into what seemed to be a huge curtain. And behind this curtain, he finally pulled back and let me see behind the curtain and showed me that the whole world is afraid. The fear that I've had and faced, the fear that I carry, the insecurities, my 4-year-old self pulled back the curtain and showed me the rest of the world, and the whole world's afraid, and was showing me that it almost cancels one another out, that I no longer need to be afraid, and I can lose myself in the service of others to let them know that it's okay, there's nothing wrong with you, and you too don't need to be afraid, because everyone is, you know? And I don't know about you guys, but when someone enters my presence or walks in the shop and you can discern that they're afraid, they're scared. Normally, when someone enters your presence, and if you can tell they're afraid of you, most of us, I'll use myself as an example, immediately go into the mode of trying to let them know you're safe here. You're safe with me. It's okay. You don't need to be afraid, right? And in that moment, I forget about my own fear, my own social anxiety, my own social weirdness, because I see it in them, and I'm crossing over to bring them comfort. And in that process, mine leaves too.
Yeah.
You know?
No, it's absolutely true. Because like when you face the thing that you're afraid of, it kind of goes away. And if fear is the thing you're afraid of, and you face it together, now there's this like weird bond that you've built with that person.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, psychologically speaking, that's why we do it. So we can bond with people, we can build them, make them stronger. What we don't realize is the other part of that is this whole teach learning thing. When you're teaching somebody that they can be safe with you, you're learning that you also can be safe.
That's it.
That's the key to being a good teacher, is being a good student.
That's it.
And it's an ebb and flow, and it's a give and take. Like I always tell, you know, people in recovery, like when I go over step work with my sponsees, I actually get more fed off going over their shit than I do going over my shit with my sponsor.
Love it.
And you touched on it, or you and Josh both touched on it. When you're teaching someone or explaining to someone how you do it, you have that aha moment, like, well, that's why I fucking do it. I love those times, man.
Yeah, and a lot of times learning is remembering
it. Yeah.
You know.
Yes, it is.
And we all need reminded every day, because we all forget every day of who the fuck we are. You know?
Do you know how many times I've been sitting here throughout this podcast being like, oh, I feel so full. God, I'm going to lose this.
Well, here's some more acknowledgement, Robbie. I appreciate your volunteer versus victim mentality, because we can often get, and this was a big thing that I learned in my process of staying clean. We often, all of us, everyone will place the blame on anything but ourselves. And when you were talking about like your ex-spouse, you were taking on the responsibility of being, you know, you're not the victim that this happened to you. You volunteered to be in this situation. It's always a 50-50. Like, we are always volunteering. And I just appreciate the fuck out of that, dude, because so many people live in a victim mentality and rob themselves of a chance to grow out of that.
And you could hear the growth in his voice and his tone. When he said that, you could hear that he's grown and matured to this place. When he said that, you could tell it was alluded to. At one time, I blamed her. I blamed everyone else. But then he was so quick to now own it and say, I'm not placing it, and taking responsibility. But how he expressed it, it almost gave us a picture of the lineage of him growing and maturing into that.
Dude, you just gave me 4 waves of fucking heavy chills every time you said like how much I grew.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've told that story a million times, right?
Yeah.
And every time I told it in the past, well, a lot of times in the past it was, fuck that bitch.
Yeah.
You know, she did X, Y, Z. And it's like, well, yeah, but you know, let's be fucking real. Things nobody knows. Me and a dude I used to fucking work out with, he told me he had a dream one day that I sold him my tattoo machines because I needed money. He told me a number of times, you need to step up and take control of your life. Now, me and that dude are no longer friends. And I still love him. I got love in my heart for him. But when you threaten to kill me, it's hard. You know, I can't go, you know, back into that.
Yeah.
But like, I still love and revere and hold on to the moments. Because he told me, bro, you need to fucking be a grown up. And I was like, psh, yeah, let me just cry about being fat right now. You know, like instead of, let me just cry about, not having money or whatever the fuck I was crying about. But, and then I look at my life, and the history of my life has been Robbie crying about bullshit that he could have fucking changed. And now Robbie's finally deciding to be a motherfucking man. And it took me losing my son of a bitch leg to fucking straighten up and like really, really, really get in there. But the funny thing is, even after I lost my leg, even after I've got all this fucking clarity, even after I've learned all this, I still find ways to be that sad bitch victim.
Man,
and like, and it's funny because you hate in others what you see in yourself the most.
Yeah.
I hate the victim mentality.
Yeah.
Until I love hip space right now. But you know who's first to be the victim? This motherfucker. You know why? Because I'm the biggest guy in the room and I lost my leg. Fuck you.
right.
Right.
And you know the best part of this, the whole silver lining is like the one thing that, and anybody, and Josh is number one at this shit. If anybody's got a reason to play fucking poor me and living in self-pityville, it's for having fucking cancer,
True.
And he continues to get up, push through puking through chemotherapy to tattoo people. Oh, I've got cancer and doing chemo. What am I going to do? Let's start a fucking clothing line. Just
And
continues.
along the way, if and when real brothers in his life like me and Hip could or about to or should check in on him, he fucking beats us to it to see if there's anything, if we're all right.
Motherfucker, I'll stub my toe and complain about it, and then Josh has got flowers on the way or some fucking crazy shit.
And then, dude, but then add back to that, this motherfucker's telling me how he thinks of me because I lost my stupid fucking leg. You know what I'm saying? And this isn't something I like run around broadcasting, right? But I lost my leg. Troy, that throws the Villain Arts conventions, he's like, Robbie, you got to sue. And I'm like, I don't want to sue my friends. And he's like, no, you got to sue. And I was like, okay. Well, that lawsuit, it helped me.
Yeah.
I was able to buy my home. I was able to buy that really fucking cool Cadillac. I'm able to fucking pay for legs for the rest of my life if I manage money correctly.
Yeah.
And
Which you will now. This time around, you will.
And I am.
That's right.
and so one day, like a year or so after the accident and everything, I'm at Troy's house in Puerto Rico, and I was sitting there and we were just chilling, and I was like, bro, like, why'd you do this for me? Like, what? Like, why did you like, how are we even friends still? Because I sued you.
Right.
And why did you tell me to sue you? And he's a very logical man. And he was like, well, I knew you didn't have insurance and I figured you could use some help.
Wow.
And
That's
like
amazing.
a dude that I've been in the room with him so many times and been like, just looking at him, hoping he looks my way and isn't too busy so I could just wave and say hi. This dude invites me to his fucking home in Puerto Rico, fucking pours me a glass of wine and fucking tells me, hey man, you needed this. I wanted to help a homie out.
Wow.
Like,
Hell yeah.
Fuck?
Man.
Well, I'm hoping
and that's not even the one, that's like one huge thing. There was so much other love that was brought to me in that fucking situation, which I'm sure
Nice.
Josh.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Man.
I'm glad you're able to get some clarity out of that. I think that you have so much story. We're barely scratching the surface, and I think our listeners would probably love a round two if you guys are all open for that. I think that we would love to eventually hear the story of Robbie's leg that don't know.
I'm here for it.
You guys down for a round two someday?
Fuck yeah,
yes.
dude.
I think we should do it for sure.
Yeah.
So I didn't really hear their responses, but I saw them moving their mouths and moving their heads. So I was like, all right, cool. Yeah.
Fuck yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But the thing is, I do know the answer because I do know y'all's hearts.
Yeah.
And I do appreciate y'all being who you are. And you know what, dude? I'm glad as fuck I took that class with you, Matt. Because I told you this in class one day. So a good friend of mine was like, dude, don't trust that guy. He's a scam. He just tells people to fucking charge more and fuck it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know. Now I'm confused.
That's so funny because that's so far from the truth.
It's so far from the truth, bro. Like, you know, he gets woo with it. He teaches you it's about energy, man.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's about the creator. It's about the universe. It's about God, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Mm-hmm. It's about calling on the shit that's out in the universe that's fucking here for us. Like, it's meant to take care of us.
Yeah.
You know, you guys were talking about on the one podcast I listened to today on leadership. What is out there in the universe that you're yearning for is yearning for you.
Come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
You know? And like to hear that and to know that Matt was yearning for more brothers like us in his life. That's why we showed up. At the same time, we were yearning for him.
Come on.
Right.
You know, he feels our love. He feels our support and vice versa. Like, bruh, that's fucking huge. For like I said, to be here with all four of us right now, I feel so honored. And I feel like this is some sort of powerhouse situation that I'm in love to be in. Like, I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This shit is totally rad.
Oh, shit. Spoken from the president himself.
And you know what's funny about the word rad? You know, I coined that, you know, right? Like, I've turned that into me. But in the order of getting small around compliments, people will be, dude, because it happens to me a lot. And hearing myself say this right now, I feel like a prick. Because so many times do I walk in the room and people are like, oh shit, Rad Robbie, it's the mayor of Rad Town. This dude is so rad. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
It's so wild. And like, why the fuck did you build it if you're going to be weird for people coming to it, you idiot?
Man. Come on, brother. Yes.
And I have to tell myself that, and I have to remind myself that. And hearing you guys acknowledge the good I put in this world, that's fucking brilliant. That's huge. Josh, I've been looking up to you for over 10 years, man. You know what I'm saying? As soon as I found your work, I was like, oh, I love him so much. I wish I had 2 dicks, 3, 4, 5 dicks. I'll suck them all.
Well, I appreciate that.
You're great. And
it's like we said, I'm sorry. It's like you said, you just never know. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't necessarily know that I had any kind of impact on you. And you know, I go through my life and I try to be a better man every day. And it is nice when you hear somebody say like, hey, you said this to me, and I always remembered it, because I'm really sentimental like that. Like I'm a huge nostalgia person, so everything feels bigger to me and everything. So whenever I hear anybody else has been affected by anything that I've done, so hell yeah, that's awesome.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
So good.
No, thank you, dude. Like, you know, you started creating this realism in art and tattoo that you were doing your own way, but nobody else was doing. And go ahead.
I was so many people try to shut me down. So many people that I actually tattoo now were like, you could never do this. And they're like, but you could totally do it on my thigh if you want to right now.
It's funny you say that, because, you know, I've been tattooing for almost 26 years now. You know, I started my informal apprenticeship at 12 years old. I picked up a tat gun, you know, as a pro tat gun ink slinger at 16 years old, you know? Yeah. So like, I'm over here doing tribal and shit and feeling like the bee's knees and the king shit. And then when I got tired of being the entry-level tattooer for people, because I realized I'm the guy people come to get their first tattoo. Then they go to the better guys in town to get their other tattoos. Mm-hmm. What the fuck am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Right? So then I really started to try and step into my greatness. And then I would like bloodline and like gray line and like do all kinds of wacky shit like that. When dudes was like, you can't do that. I remember I purpled a guy's nipple, and like I was told by one of the best tattooers in town, who's a great friend of mine. But like when I was still like, you know, young buck looking up to him like, oh my God, you know everything. You know, he's like, you can't do that. And I'm like, wait, like I tattooed the skin, you know, like
you're like, I just did it.
Yeah. And like 2012-ish, I was fucking blasting gnarly fucking knuckle bangers. And like these share pages were sharing my art all around. And the biggest fights I had in those times were, that's not going to heal. That's fucking bullshit. You're a piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. Dude, I've fucking been a cartoon tattooer. People are like, nobody's going to want cartoons. The biggest thing I've heard my whole career was, obviously I don't want a cartooning. So like, I've heard that so much, but dude, I fucking just said, fuck all you people. I kept with it. And then I remember when a homie took a Tanane Whitfield seminar years later.
Yeah.
And his first thing was fucking bloodline and gray line in the thing. I'm like, fuck you. I've been battling myself for so long that I wasn't supposed to do this. And now, dude, I look up to like fucking crazy. And he's doing the same thing. And my friend that I also look up to like crazy took the seminar and he told me he's doing these things. Why the fuck wasn't I doing these things? And why am I not Tanane Whitfield right now?
Yeah, it's just that same permission thing. You had to get permission. It's weird how we work.
Dude.
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird that I've tattooed for 30 years, but it took Matt to tell me it's the same thing someone's told me 15, 20 years. And I'm like,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
Finally it clicked.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this stuff in your career field, but I started young, so as a 16-year-old tattooer, people are like, I can't believe you're doing this. And they're like, but look at how good you are right now. Imagine how great you're going to be in 20 years.
Exactly.
Like, well, first off, I suck. And second, I'm probably going to suck in 20 years. And, truth be told, no, I didn't suck then. And I'm fucking even more amazing now.
Hell yeah.
That's the whole package.
That's
Hell
right.
yeah.
Not big dick Robbie with the great tattoos. It's like, no, I actually am rad. And people I look up to refer to me as such and believe that. So yeah, I'm a rad dude, and I have some moments that are less than perfect.
Own it.
Yeah.
And before we were tattoo artists, we were humans first.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dude. And when I worked with Longnecker, and we were traveling around before we went on Ink Master, because we went on the same season together, which is weird because we worked together. We went on the same season together. It was odd, and we traveled together. And he always said when we were on the road together, man, tattooers are the rock stars. Totally.
I can see that completely.
Yeah.
And it's so hard to know that people look at us like rock stars.
Right.
Like I said, I'm the guy that slept on the floor to get a fucking free or cheap room. You know what I'm saying? I'm the guy that sleeps in a bed with a guy I don't fucking know and stiff as a board because he's a cuddler and fucking
Right.
I've been through these situations, and then I've also been the guy that gets free things because I was on TV. Mm-hmm. I've been the guy that.
Yeah, it's funny how that changes everything.
Right, but it doesn't in your brain. You have to step into that.
Right.
Yes.
Because I remember being like, "Oh wait, you don't get free this, or you don't get free this," and people are like, "Nah, dog, you're special." Or you were on TV, and I'm like, "I'm not special." Yeah, I was on TV, but like there was like 200 other of us that were on TV too, and they're like, "Nah, bro, it's different." And I'm like, "Oh, yeah." And so like acknowledging that you're great without being a cunt, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Because I've been
and to all our listeners, if you've witnessed today us acknowledging one another, and bringing up the impact we've had in one another's lives and didn't even know it, please, you listeners, do not exile yourself out of this conversation.
Yeah.
We're talking to you as you. Know that you too have a powerful and beautiful impact. You've already impacted so many lives, whether you know it or not. Now, it's always a gift when we have conversations like this, when you get to see the fruit of what you did or said that really touched someone, right? But like Josh says, like I said, don't stop. Know that you have an impact, whether you realize it or not, whether you feel it or not. You do, just like me, just like Robbie, just like Josh, just like Hip. We all do. This is the gift. And, Robbie mentioned no one can take it from you, right? You are so powerful, whether we want to say the naysayer, the devil can't defeat you. His only ploy is to get you to accept your own defeat, because no one can take it from you. But you can relinquish it. You can give it away. This is why it's so important for who we surround ourselves with brothers and sisters that are going to sharpen us and remind us of who we are. The fact that this acknowledgement arose and was unearthed and came to the surface today was because we surrounded ourselves with other brothers and sisters that's going to pull that out of us. And it's so important for you in your life to surround yourselves with people like this that's going to see you, appreciate you, call bullshit on your bullshit, slap you and remind you when you start to step into a false identity, to remind you of who you really are. This is why, though, we ask you to write us. We're here to support you. This is why programs like Tattoo Business Mastery exist. This is why whole movement, the RAD movement, exists. You don't have to be an islander all alone. We're here for you. That's why we're on these microphones pouring our hearts out to you, for you, as one of you, right? And one of my favorite quotes is, if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together.
Dude. You know, and I want to jump back on the devil thing that you were hitting, because, you know, you said nobody can take it from you. And in my head, I said, yeah, but you can. And then you said the devil. And then I go back to God. Yeah. If God is all of us, if God is in all of us, if God is us acting as our best self, then guess what? On the equal and opposite end of that, the devil is us acting as our worst self.
Yeah.
And most of the time, that inside of us, we will rob ourselves of God that is inside of us.
That's right.
Because we believe the bullshit of the monkey mind, of the devil that we've created, that we've allowed. You know, one of the things I always ask people, if the voice in your head was a person, would you be friends with it?
That's good. That's good.
Like I heard Hip say,
which one?
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Like I heard Hip say, if he talked to y'all the way he talked to himself, y'all wouldn't be his friends. You know, like, dude, it's so wild how bad we fucking treat ourselves.
Yeah.
And even if you're going to the gym regularly and eating right and journaling and meditating and listening to the fucking good, healthy content and being fellowshipping with friends and running your business right and making a lot of money, you still are going to find yourself hating yourself. And you have to find a way around that.
Yep, you definitely end up alone with yourself at night. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Or in the morning, because I fall asleep real easy at night.
Yeah, Matt and I are the opposite. Matt and I will stay up fucking all night.
Yep.
Like he's 3 hours time difference, and it'll be like midnight, and I'm like, oh, I could text him. He's definitely up at 3 a.m.
Yep. And I usually am.
Yeah.
Bro, well, it's like because Donna, my so we're not married. We basically live married. I call her all kinds of things like wife type or lady or partner. That's if we're gonna get old school with it, that's my bitch, dog. Like she's my number one ride or die, 100%. But like it's funny because people at the studio, they know don't bother me on times that I ain't working, that you know I might be actually dead ass sleeping. The other day, one of our artists was like, oh, I was gonna text you, and it was like 3 a.m. and like me and Donna were both like, yeah, she's awake. Like, you should have texted her. She's fine. She's looking for something to keep her mind occupied or something. I'm rolling over being like, can you please shut the fucking TV off? The noises and the lights, and I'm sorry. You know?
Man.
But yeah, man, everybody's got their own patterns and their own sleep schedules and their own demons in their own battle.
And even though we all battle, imposter syndrome, we all can battle self-worth. We all can always be like, am I even good enough? I'm not good enough. We all fear inadequacy, right? But really, I don't believe that's our greatest fear. And I'm going to read this, and I've done it before. I just feel led to do it again. This is a great quote, and I don't even know who it's from, so I need to figure that out too. But it goes like this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate, even though that's a big one, right? We all feel that. But it says our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Actually, our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is actually our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are we not to be, right? You are a child of the divine, a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightening about shrinking. so that other people won't feel unsure around you. We were born to make manifest the goodness and the glory and the beauty of the divine that is within all of us, God within all of us. It is not just in some of us, it is in every single one of us. As we let our light shine, we can consciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others.
Bro, you got to text that to me.
Yes.
I fucking love that. And it's wild because I've asked myself, how can you be scared to fail or scared to succeed more than you're scared to fail?
Come on.
And that exactly is a perfect, like what you just read
Yes.
is a perfect depiction of how.
Yes.
Because I'm always like, Shh, I ain't scared to fucking succeed. I'm dying to succeed. Yeah. Well, what about the time at Hell City, Phoenix, when I had 3 days of seminars to teach and I hated doing it before I did it every single day because I felt terrified? You know, or about the time that fucking Ian Robert McCown comes up to me and says, yeah, I'm about to do my seminar, but I feel like you're doing it and you're probably doing it better. And I'm like, or like you're already hating all the things I'm talking about. I'm like, wait, hold the fuck on. Who the fuck? I don't even know who I am, but you people do.
Yes,
You know,
Baba.
that same weekend, Josh Herman was like, bro, I made a comment about being fat. And this is when I was in like 220. You know, I'm at like 275 now and getting bulkier. But like, I was skinny Robbie then. And he was like, bro, you're fucking skinny. I'm like, nah, dude, I'm fat. Like, all these people were acknowledging all these things about me that were great. And I was in a room full of greatness at a fucking convention full of greatness. Dude, I felt small. I didn't know how to feel big. You know, like I went to your convention, Josh, with Josh Hibbard from my season of Ink Master. And you know what I told myself? I didn't get a personal invite from Josh Carlton. I just took up space in another dude's booth. So I don't really deserve to be there.
Yeah, we've definitely all been there.
And it's stupid how we do that to ourselves.
Yeah.
And
And
see, it's too bad because I never knew that, because I know for a fact, because I was there, you were meant to be invited.
Yep.
However that happened, that the intention was never Hibbard over you. Somehow that's just the way the invite landed, you know.
And I never even got the invite.
Exactly.
Which, like Matt's text, I never got the response.
Yeah.
And then here we are later realizing I was intended to be there.
That's right.
You know, like Riley, when I was in Ink Master, we went to Vegas for the Ink Master 10 finale.
Yeah.
I had no idea Riley had any fucking idea who I was. And he's like, I love what you're doing with the Rad movement, man. You got a booth at our Iowa show or whatever coming up. And whatever happened, and I didn't end up making it. But like, it was phenomenal that I didn't believe.
Right, because you didn't even know. Yeah, Riley and I were there, actually at the recording of Ink Masters there.
Yeah.
The 10?
Yeah.
Okay, you know what's funny? I didn't fucking recognize you.
I was probably just losing weight.
Yep.
Yes, I actually came up to you.
Yeah.
And I could tell. I was like, hey, what's up? And you kind of blew me off a little bit. And then later on, you're like, I didn't even recognize that was you. I love that. I love it.
No, I flew off the great Josh Carlton because I'm great. And you know what's funny? Dude, so I was with the owner of Helios Needles as well at that thing, right?
Yeah.
And dude, so Ink Master stuff happens, I get small.
Right.
Like, you know, I'm standing over there with Cruzman and a bunch of other people from fucking Ink Master, and we're standing in the corner and we're just in a circle, and he pointed out, he's like, bro, these people keep fucking staring at us and shit. So we're all going through this same thing, right? And I was like, holy fuck, I can't believe this. And they were giving us shit. They didn't want to let us in before the fucking people. They wanted us to wait online. And we were like, we don't want to wait online, man. We want to go in. Like, we're all fucking nervous to be here. Just let us in, man. And so Craig, the owner of Helios, I was like, Craig, I need your help, dude. He was like, what? And he was shocked. I was like, they're not letting us in, and I need you to talk. Like, because there was like 10 of us at this point, and we'd all tried to talk to these people, and none of them would let us in. So I go over to Craig, and I'm like, dude, I need your help. And he's like, it's weird to me that you're having a hard time right now, because I always look at you as so strong and so able to fucking stand up and be confident.
Yeah.
And I was like, so that's the mindset I was in. So I don't know this dude that's coming up to me. He might be a fucking TV fan. He didn't look like Josh Carlton. This guy's skinny.
Yeah.
But dude, that's wild. And honestly, thank you so much for telling me that, dude. Because I mean, I'm really only talking to Hip right now. Now I got fucking clout cool guy points against this. But no, dude, thank you. Like that in its own weird way makes me feel great.
Good.
But I'm sad that I cool guide somebody that I've been wanting. Like I've never met you in person. Wait, no,
right. I knew that, and I've always made my career about my work, so I never like put my face out a ton. And I was 70 pounds lighter, so but yeah, I could totally tell because you kind of like you were cool to me. I think you just came from the gym, and you were just like you kind of just brushed me off. But it was like later on you wrote me or something, and were like, "Man, I'm sorry. I totally didn't recognize you," and I didn't care at all. You know what I mean? Because we'd never even met. It's not like I expect, I'm goddamn Joshua Carlton at all. I just wanted to be nice to you, even though you weren't to me.
Well, you know what, Josh? We've been through this back and forth a number of times now. Okay?
Right.
So you need to start responding to me.
Right.
No, but it's really weird how we do this as people. Like you reached out to me and I shut you down, and then I've reached out to you and I felt shut down, and like it's just stupid how like we forget that like these people are reaching out, and just because the relationship didn't go the way we thought doesn't mean that these people are closing us out.
That's
exactly.
Right.
100%.
Right.
And it's hard to like stay in that truth.
Yeah.
Well, hell yeah, I definitely feel like I learned something today. I know we really, really appreciate you coming on board, Robbie, and like I said, I hope that we can do a round 2.
Yes.
Love
Yes.
so much.
Like I said, my favorite episodes are one where I get to kind of sit back and learn something. So you've seen me be a little quiet towards the end here as I'm just kind of soaking it in. But yeah, man, for real, thank you so much. I'm impressed with what you've done with the RAD movement, which has definitely become a movement at this point.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with what you were able to take away from going on a TV show that has really harmed a lot of other artists, and you were able to take a different path that maybe you wouldn't have chosen. Maybe old Robbie, right, would have chosen a little bit of a different path. So I'm impressed with what you were able to turn it into, and we see you and we love you, brother.
Dude, thank you so much. I love you guys so much. I'm so glad to be here. Before we get out of here, I just want to direct everyone to the link in my Instagram. It's a GoFundMe for Billy, who works at my studio.
Yeah.
He's an amazing artist, an amazing person.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he is.
I love him so much.
Yes.
Like, I worked with him for years before we worked together in my shop, because the shop he worked at, I ended up guesting at every time I moved to Florida. And he was always like eager to learn and always so beautiful and wonderful. And like, dude, I ended up with a piece of his artwork accidentally one time throughout the tattoo community locally. So like I brought it back to him, and that started this relationship. Then we started working together, and now he's my brother at our studio, because Bill was one of the first dudes to come in.
Yeah.
And he's got pancreatic cancer, which you guys know. And his GoFundMe is in the link on my Instagram page, Robbie Ripoll.
Yeah.
So
we'll put it on the YouTube video as well.
Cool.
Not sure exactly when this will air, but we'll make sure we get that linked as well.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have that still up. So that was just one thing I wanted to drop out there before we end.
Yes.
Man, it's funny.
Great person.
He is. Since we've been sitting here, Billy wrote me. So while sitting here talking, I looked down and Billy just wrote me to, he's acknowledging me and thanking me. He's in this round of Tattoo Business Mastery, and everyone loves him. He brings so much love and light just by being him. And we end every class and everyone over Zoom, and there's like 37 students this round. I know I usually only take 33. I made some exceptions. And we all stretch our hands towards him every week. And just speak power and blessings over him, his life, his body, the whole deal.
And you wouldn't believe the power that can have as someone that's received that. That is amazing. I get chills thinking about it.
Yeah, me too.
Yes. And like last night, Billy started to, do his medicine stuff. He wasn't feeling good, and he dipped out before we were over with. But guess what? It didn't matter. We all still stretched our hands and prayed for my brother Billy. We fucking love him. All you listeners, especially so many of you have been writing saying you loved our episode about Am I a Giver? Here's your chance to be one and to give with us to a fellow guardian, our brother Billy. If you were inspired by being a giver, if you're inspired by HIP, and here's your chance, right, to give.
Dude, so after the Giver episode, I ran to the Publix around the corner, had to grab some produce and things, and I bought the person behind me's food.
Come on.
Yes, I love that.
And it's weird. I bought it and we did it. She was on her phone. So me and the dude, we did it without her knowing. I'll fucking start hustling my ass out of there. I'm like, yeah, I made it undetected. And she runs outside. She's like, oh my God, sir, thank you. I can pay you. I'm like, nah, it ain't about that. I'm just trying to do something nice, babe. Just have a great day.
I love it.
Dude, I'll drop a fat tip on somebody at a restaurant. I ain't even trying to say this for acknowledgement. I'm not trying to look cool.
Right.
But the joy it gives.
Come on.
Man, and you reminded me, Hip. Well, you guys all did in that giving episode, but Hip was really highlighted on being the giver. Yeah. And man, I was having a shit day when I started giving too. Every time I'm having a shit moment, like it's just something about the joy that, $5, $8, $10, $50, $100, can bring to somebody. Yeah. Bro, I dropped $20 in a fucking homeless dude's hand.
Yep.
This motherfucker grins real big and goes, I'm packing up and going to Wendy's.
Yeah.
And my intention was, he's got something written on a fucking natural light box.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying? So I know this guy is just getting fucked up at times.
Right. Yeah.
But and it wasn't like just telling me something to tell me. Mm-hmm. He told me the fucking truth. That dude got excited to go to Wendy's. Because he may have been drunk and had the drunk munchies, or he may have wanted to fucking put a cushion in his belly for drinking. I don't give a fuck. It's
doesn't
like
matter.
It
He's a
doesn't
human
matter.
being.
But dude, the joy that fucking $20 brought that motherfucker, bro. Now I want to give a homeless dude $100 just to see if I can really make a bigger difference. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yes.
It's just and just it feels good and it feels fun and it feels nice to give joy with a simple thing like
always.
Absolutely.
My God.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Robbie Ripoll, for being on the Tattoo Guardians podcast show with your brothers today, being so vulnerable. Thank you for showing up, playing full on out so that we may serve our brothers and sisters all over the globe with you, your heart, your beautiful mind, the rad movement that you have started that I believe is just about to explode, literally aligning with Tattoo Business Mastery, being a guardian yourself here on the Tattoo Guardian show. All of it, we can sum it up for us all to continue lighting the path, which is Carlton's shirt line. What shirt you wearing today?
Man, it's a crispy one.
Man, what's that say?
Hey, it says light the path.
Man, I'm all fucking about lighting the path too. Man, what the fuck, boy?
What? Oh, shit.
I want to be up in this shit, man.
Yeah.
yeah, baby.
I love it. Thank you. It made my day.
My God.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Hell yeah. So how do we get that Light the Path gear?
You can order directly from me. I'll put a link down below as well. Thanks, guys.
Hard Playboy.
Man,
hell yeah.
For
Hell
real.
Dude.
I love you guys.
Love you guys. Thank you all so much for having me.
Thank you.
I feel goofy how many times I said I'm honored to be here.
Man,
but
dude.
I am honored to be here.
Yeah,
we're honored to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you, brother.
Jinx. We said it together.
So good. Listeners, please let us know about today's show, today's episode. Hop over to YouTube and write in the comments what came up for you today, what resonated with you today. Please let Robbie know everything he shared, the vulnerability of his heart. How did Robbie impact touch you? What's the light bulb that went off on the inside of you? We want to know. And especially since we're bringing back for part 2, if there's anything you want to know from or about Robbie, let us know in the comments. We'll serve that to you on round 2 of this conversation.
Well, and also I kind of want to have you guys. I want to have individually all y'all with my podcast. but I also want to have a round table with all of y'all as well.
I
So,
love it.
if y'all are down for 2 episodes each, because I want to do the individual and the whole thing, I would love to do that. You guys are inspiring me to do less just talking to the camera and more bringing on other minds to enjoy with. So
yes,
I love what you guys are doing, and I appreciate y'all so much.
Hell yeah.
Appreciate you too so much. My God. Woo! This has been another episode of the Tattoo Guardians podcast show. We love you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching and writing. We will see you next week faithfully. Blessings upon you. Light the path.